morning, everybody, and welcome to our Krishna Connection Srimad Bhagavatam study. We are studying the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. We stopped here. We'll continue from here. By continually hearing from a pure devotee, they will gradually realize their eternal relationship with the Lord. This is so satisfying that it creates detachment from all worldly talk and work. How can such devotees be identified? The first symptom of pure devotion is disinterest in mundane subjects. For a pure devotee, all worldly activities, whether social, political, or whatever, become unattractive. In a more mature stage of devotion, the devotee becomes detached from what to speak of relatives. Such a person is never agitated, rising above material suffering. Do all devotees renounce the world? Asked Parikshit. Although they are not attracted to material enjoyment, to preach, they sometimes work in this world for Krishna's pleasure, just to show others how to use everything in his service. So this is Yukta Vairagya again. A devotee is naturally his desire is not after, he's not after material enjoyment, he or she. But at the same time, in order to preach Krishna consciousness, they may appear to be involved in materialistic enjoyment or materialistic comforts or whatever. And just to please Krishna, we are engaging our senses, our mind, in a practical way in this world, to show people how to use everything. So if we tell people, oh, you should only eat roots and fruits and vegetables, you should not eat anything else, then, preaching Krishna consciousness becomes, I guess, impossible. At the same time, that's not the philosophy either. The philosophy is Yukta Vairagya, using everything in the service of the Lord. So this principle needs to be understood. Sometimes we become too attached to the don't do this, don't do that, instead of becoming attached to the point that use everything in Krishna's service. Everything, everything should be used in Krishna's service. Whether it is technology, whether it is, yes, some things are not in Sattva Guna, some things may be in Rajagun and Tamagun, and people may still be in those modes, and they may be using whatever nature they have, whatever things they may have in that mode, but we encourage them. And we keep saying, Krishna has the power to accept this. Krishna is very kind, merciful. He will accept anything you give, like that. Okay. Let's continue. Somebody likes to take over from here?
Should I read?
Yeah.
Sutta paused in his narration. His eyes were closed and his body slightly trembled with spiritual ecstasy. The thousands of sages who had assembled in Naimishranya to hear him speak sat in expectant silence. Sacrificial fires crackled nearby, and a breeze rustled through the trees. Wisps of smoke drifted on the warm afternoon air, carrying the scent of the burning, ghee-soaked kindling. Somewhere in the deep forest a tiger growled, but the sages paid it no heed. They only wanted to hear Sutta speak. When some minutes had passed, Sutta opened his eyes and said, "What more would you like to know?" Shaunaka said, "It is evident that Sukadeva Goswami is highly learned, for he expertly answered the king's questions. Please tell us what else Parikshit asked." "My friends," replied Sutta, "Parikshit next inquired about the process of creation." A murmur of surprise arose from both Shaunaka and the others. They had anticipated that Parikshit would have asked about Krishna's personal pastimes. Some called out, "We are keen to hear directly about Krishna rather than creation." Sutta looked towards Shaunaka, waiting for his decision. After a few moments, th- thought, Shaunaka said, "O learned Sutta Goswami, please continue narrating the discussion between Parikshit and Sukadev exactly as it occurred. I am confident their conversation culminated in talks about Krishna." Some sages muttered in dissatisfaction. The wiser among them, however, expressed approval. Raising his arms to quieten the great gathering, Shaunaka explained his rationale. Parikshit is not only the grandson of the Pandavas, who were all Krishna's personal associates, but he was also a great devotee. From his very infancy, he imitated the service of the family deities by worshipping his own Krishna doll. The eyes of the sages grew wide in appreciation. This was surely the sign of a great personality. Shaunaka then glorified Sukadeva. As well as being Vyasdev's son, he is a self-realized devotee of Krishna. Certainly, when two such elevated personalities converse, it will be about Krishna. The sun rays penetrated the thick foliage of trees, illuminating Sutta, where he sat upon his raised dais. Inspired by this, Shaurika said, as advanced devotees, they knew well that both by its rising and setting, the The sun quickly steals away men's lives, except for those who use their time hearing about Krishna. Thus, Parikshit would not have asked any question that they did not pertain to Krishna, nor would Sukadeva have spoken anything unrelated to the Lord. King Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami fully understood life's purpose. They were not like foolish materialists who are only interested in prolonging life, eating, and enjoying sex. As enlightened persons, they knew well that even trees live long lives. The blacksmith's bellows breathe, and beasts eat and mate. Only foolish people, who are no more intelligent than dogs, hogs, camels, and asses, waste time discussing useless material subjects. Indeed, ears which do not hear Krishna's praises are like snake holes, and tongues which do not loudly glorify the Lord are like those of frogs, which make a great tumult and simply attract snakes to swallow them. Warming to his theme, Shonaka spoke with feeling. Self-realized souls know if a person does not worship Krishna, his wealth and position in society will only degrade him. The crown on the head of a powerful king is like a heavy weight that drowns him in an ocean of birth and death. If he does not bow to Krishna, hands, even if adorned with gold, are like those of a corpse. If they do not serve the Lord, the eyes of a man that do not see the deity are like those on a peacock feather, and the feet do not walk to holy places are like those of trees, for they will be cut down by the Yamduta's axis. Most of the dissenters bowed their heads, accepting Shaunaka's superior judgment. Parikshit's questions to Sukadeva would be would all be important in understanding the truths about Krishna. Only a few dissatisfied faces remained in the assembly. Shaunaka frowned. How could they not appreciate the importance of Parikshit's questions or of Sukadeva's answers? Did these antics consider them ordinary men? He continued, one who fails to respect Krishna's pure devotee is no better than a ghost who always creates disturbances for others. Krishna belongs to his pure servants. Only by hearing from some elevated source can one relish the fragrance of the tulasi leaves adorning his lotus feet. We must therefore be careful not to slight Parikshit or Sukadeva, Krishna's very dear devotees, by declining to hear their enlightened words. A young Brahmana rose to speak. Reverend Shonika, we do not doubt the qualifications of Parikshit or Sukadeva, but we wish to hear more about Krishna's personal pastimes.
Sorry, I was muted. I said, thank you very much, Rasastali. So let's pause here for a moment and notice the principles here. There's the principle of, not being interested in material subject matters. That's the principle that Bhagavatam brings. And then immediately Parikshit asks about creation. So then it's a confusion, right? It looks like a little bit of a contradiction. On one side is like, okay, what is all this creation stuff? It's material. But that's a difference between a devotee's perspective, and a non-devotee's perspective. A devotee can easily see what is connected to Krishna, what's not, and he can in fact see everything as connected to Krishna as well. But Parikshit also had his nature. He was a Kshatriya. He was a person who wanted to run his kingdom. He had creativity. He had that vast eagerness to understand how things work, how the Lord maintains the creation, how does he do things. So the nature of individuals cannot be, how do you call it? Even death, at the time of death also, our natures remain. I mean, I'm not talking about the Swabhava nature, I'm talking about the Swarupa nature. Swabhava means our eternal identity, and Swarupa means eternal identity, and Swabhava means our conditioned or nature that we are born with. So the nature Parikshit is born with is that of thoroughness, of curiosity, of understanding things properly. So it needs to be noted here that there were some sages who were dissatisfied because maybe, I mean, like I'm thinking of my mentor also, Savitri Mataji. She doesn't like to read, like in Mayapur forum or something, there are all news and different things going on. She doesn't like to read, even if they're talking about some philosophical differences or something. She's like, I don't have time to get into all that stuff. I'm just absorbed in this. So that's a also it depends on our natures. It depends on our, I mean, I'm not saying age in the sense of when we're going to die kind of age. I'm talking about when we are aging, we lose naturally interest in subject matters like, okay, what's going on in the community, or who's criticizing, who's getting banned, we don't kind of like, interested in this kind of subject matters. So I'm learning more and more about filtering our priorities. There may be certain things that we like doing. It may not be, I don't know how to bring up this point. There may be certain interests, okay, certain habits or hobbies or certain desires that you have, which may not appear like, okay, directly studying the scriptures or chanting with the beads or something. You may be interested in learning, say, a traditional form of art like dance or something, or you may be interested in understanding travels and understanding where all Srila Prabhupada went. You can always connect whatever you are interested in to Krishna as well. It's not that you have to always follow something that other people around you are doing. You can always find what individuality, finding that sense of who am I, what am I interested in, and then seeing how Krishna consciousness comes into picture there too. And that is the best way of engaging in Krishna consciousness. So you don't have to force yourself to do things that may not be your nature. We all have different natures. Some are intellectual, some are bhajan people, some are interested in doing service with our other devotees and connection and organization. So we all have our natures. So it's very important for us to understand that Swabhava, so that we'll be able to attain our eternal identity through this nature that we have. Okay, is that clear? Any questions about it? Vilas Manjari, I saw your hand up. Maybe you want to continue reading?
Yeah. This morning, when hearing about his dealings with the Pandavas, Bhishma and Queen Kunti, tears of joy came to our eyes. We even experienced horripilation. Surely we are now ready to directly hear about Krishna's intimate pastimes. Shanaka's expression was grave. Do not think that these are the real symptoms of love for Krishna. On hearing about Krishna, a person may perspire, appear stunned, horripilate, stutter, tremble, become pale, cry profusely, and even apparently enter a trance, but still be a hard-hearted materialist, merely faking devotion. Oh, he can do all these things, but still be a hard-hearted materialist, merely faking devotion. Someone called out, "Oh, Vaishnavaka, what then are the true characteristics of one who loves Krishna?" Shaunaka's demeanor softened. Before genuine love for Krishna can manifest in our hearts, we must first become free of sensual desires. Period.
Of course, it doesn't mean we should stop loving Krishna and stop doing things for Krishna, and it's a simultaneous process. But before we that I'm fully qualified for Krishna to manifest his love in my heart, we need to be fully free of sensual desires. But it's not that Krishna cannot reciprocate based on where we are. Okay, whichever situation we are in, Krishna can still reciprocate with us accordingly, like yathamam prapadyante, depending on our level of where we are at, Krishna can reciprocate. Please continue.
Another Brahmana questioned, how can we be sure we are truly free and not merely fooling ourselves? One who has no worldly desires uses every moment in Krishna's service and is eager to constantly glorify him. A pure devotee is completely detached from material happiness. Such a great personality is without a tinge of pride, never thinking himself advanced. When there was no further dissent, Shaunaka turned to Sutta. Learned one, your words are pleasing to the heart. Please therefore recount to us everything that Parikshit asked of Shukadeva and all that was spoken in reply. Smiling, Sutta resumed his narration.
Sometimes we are also interested in other topics of discussion of Bhagavatam. Sometimes we are more interested in pastimes. Second canto has always been a little bit of a difficult thing to understand. No, all this creation and process of creation is not like it's not like stories like that. There is a lot. So it's a very crucial thing what we're studying now. So we can understand. Remember, we started with Virat Rupa and all that, right? And then now we're starting to understand that, yeah, you see, like we're looking at the creation, it's connected. When we are actually looking at Virat Rupa, we're looking at the creation as parts of Krishna. And now Parikshit wants to actually understand in detail about this. So all these things again indicates to us that whatever we see can remind us of Krishna. And there's this beautiful bhajan, it says, every action we are performing, right? Like perspective, change of perspective. Like, ನಡೆವುದೇ ಯಾತ್ರೆಯು ನುಡಿವುದೇ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರವು ಬಿಡದೆ ನೋಡುವುದೆಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ನ ಮೂರ್ತಿ. So sadhanada chinte ninage tako deva. It means why are you worrying about sadhana while when your existence itself, when you're a devotee, whatever steps you're taking is a yatra, is a pilgrimage. Whatever you're saying, speaking is actually verses. And whatever you're looking at, look at that consciousness level of advancement. Bidade noduvudalle ninna murti. Whatever you're looking at is actually your form. So that's again like meditation of the Virat Rupa thing. Whatever you're looking at is Krishna anyway. Everything is connected to Krishna. So this understanding helps us to look at our lives and our circumstances as this is Krishna's hand. It must be Krishna's will. This is something Krishna wants me to learn. So it's like on the microcosm and the macrocosm. On the macrocosm level, we're looking at the universe and then remembering Krishna's form, features, glories, power of creation. And in the microcosm of our own emotions, of our own life, of our own existence, we actually see Krishna's hand there as well. So it's like a very interesting dual thing. Yeah, please, let's continue. Process of creation, 4th chapter.
The process of creation. Desiring to convince the sages present of Krishna's power and greatness, Parikshit asked Shukadeva to explain creation. Before replying, Shukadeva offers supplicatory prayers to Krishna. After hearing Shukadeva's clear exposition of the superiority of Bhakti Yoga over other disciplines, Parikshit became determined to fix his mind on Krishna. Throughout his life, he had always engaged his kingly opulence in Krishna's service. By Shukadeva's association, his attraction for Krishna blossomed, and he became completely freed from attachment to his body, relatives, kingdom, and other possessions. He had already renounced all worldly pursuits as soon as he heard of his impending demise, and he now determined to inquire exclusively about Krishna, to whom he had always been attracted. With joined palms, Parikshit said, O learned Brahmana, because you are without sin, you properly understand all spiritual truths. Everything you have said makes sense to me. By hearing your explanations about Krishna, my confusions are gradually clearing. Parikshit glanced about him at Gautama and his disciples, as well as at the followers of Kannada, Kapila, Patanjali, and Jaimini, who had previously minimized Krishna. Out of their respect for Shukadeva, they were listening quietly. Nevertheless, Parikshit did not want to immediately ask Shukadeva to speak about Krishna's intimate pastimes. First, he wanted to clear any misunderstandings they may have about his position. He wanted them to appreciate Krishna's greatness. He knew many of them.
See, here there's another point, right? Parikshit is dying, but he's still a preacher. He's still a devotee who is interested in setting the rights, rules, and standards and understanding for the rest of the people. So that again indicates lack of selfishness. Sometimes some of us are like, I don't care about other things, I just care about myself. So that's not Parikshit's mood. He's very careful and cautious to set things clear, right? And right understanding, so that whatever has been spoken can actually be established in the right way. And that, he's not rushing into, let me know everything I can know. And I want to know, I want to just fix my mind in Krishna. I don't care about all these sages here. I don't care about what will happen to other people. I just want to, he's not in that mood. He's not rushing. And he only has like few hours left. So this is another thing that we don't have to rush in our life. Progress is not in the details. Progress is not in the quantity of information, quantity of service we perform, quantity of knowledge that we acquire. It's in the quality of it. It's in the intention. It's about the bhava. It's about the emotion. It's about the mood. And here, what is Parikshit's mood and bhava and emotion? It is that of clarifying Krishna's position, clarifying the place in which, where Krishna is respected in the entire creation. And his point is not just about himself. So the mood is, I'm a servant of Krishna. The mood is not, I'm the enjoyer and I need to know all the information I need to know before I die. That's not the mood. The mood is like, so Krishna is the Lord and Master. It's a basic understanding, and he's clear about it. And he's not so eager and rushing into, let me get this done, let me get that done, let me get this information, let me finish. He asked in the beginning, if you remember, he asked Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit asked, should I engage myself?
Chanting or reading
Yeah,
Bhagavatam?
exactly. Should I engage in chanting or should I read in Bhagavatam? And he was very, very eager to use every second productively, meaningfully, and not waste it. And here we are observing him the way he's doing it. It's very mature. It's very altruistic. It's very generous of him to be doing what he's doing. And this is a quality we can learn. As they say, the real truth lies in between the lines. Yes, the whole discussion is about creation and all this, and all these things ago, the confusion is going on, that sages are there, like all that is going on. But the actual thing for us to grasp and look is Parikshit's generosity, Parikshit's maturity, Parikshit's ability to look into this situation in a very leader-like way. He was looking at it as a leader, even if he had just few hours left to live and breathe his last. It doesn't matter. He wasn't rushing. So this is the greatness, and also the faith that I will be given all the information that I need before I die. Shukadeva Goswami is here trusting the authority, but valuing and following his intuition, following his interests, because it is still his interest. Why creation only? Why didn't he ask, why didn't he just say, oh, some of these people here are not convinced, can you please convince them that this is the only way? He wasn't fanatic. Very sattva guna way. Sattva guna takes time. Sattva guna requires patience. Oh my God. When Parikshit has few hours left, what more can be a proof that Parikshit was so patient, that he was willing to go into all types of subject matters? Yes, it may have been his interest. Yes, it may have been the need for the hour, but still it represents his generosity and his ability to look at things from a broad angle. And he's not just saying, oh my God, I'm done. I want to just go and chant, thank you very much. This information is enough for me. He didn't say that. So it's very interesting to observe this. Any other points that you noticed, or any other questions? Actually, we're going to end here for today, the reading. And let's see. So yeah, we're here. He wanted them to appreciate Krishna's greatness. That is his mood. That is his bhava. That is his intention. We can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from this last sentence, to appreciate Krishna's greatness. Like the other day I was speaking about Bhagavatam class, and then my husband was asking me, so how is the Bhagavatam study going? And I said, oh, very nice. And I'm so happy devotees are coming regularly. And that day, I think we had like 10 of us. And then when I was telling, and then immediately, the discussion and the realization is, this is Krishna. We are speaking of Krishna's greatness. So we are appreciating Krishna's greatness. We are appreciating that what Krishna has done, who Krishna is, what's our relationship with Krishna, and it's attractive. So this class, this Bhagavatam study is about Krishna. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about Krishna. So similarly, when we can actually do all our services with the intention that I shouldn't have the intention, they're coming to listen to me, or this is my class, and therefore that's very mundane, right? But if I can realize, when we can realize that this service is meant to make Krishna's greatness be known more, and then we see the result. That's sattva guna. So sattva guna is to want to bring appreciation for Krishna, to make all of us appreciate Krishna. With that intention, when we do service, it gives us an immense amount of satisfaction and fulfillment. Yeah. Somebody wanted to say something?
Like we were discussing that sometimes I also go through this guilt that my Guru Maharaj told me to do this, and I'm not doing this, and then I'm taking a lot of time. Although I'm doing it, it's very slow. Is that guilt displeasing to Krishna? Is it favorable or unfavorable in terms of bhava with which we serve Krishna?
See, in the bhava, when we're talking about what do you call it? the aspect of bhava. There's no right and wrong. That's the whole point of bhava. It is what it is. So the natural invoking of feelings. I mean, if you're asking me, the only thing worthy of lamentation is He Radhe Vraja Devike Chalalite He Nanda Suno Kutha. This is the Goswamis lamenting. Where is Krishna? Where is Srimati Radharani? Where is the son of Nanda? This is the only lamentation worth lamenting. Everything else is useless if you're asking me from a very highest bhava point of view. At the same time, the whole point of bhava is that it is not thought logically. You cannot plan and say, this is exactly the bhava I want to be in. This is not. Bhava is what it is. It's emotions, it's feelings. It's your, deep internal intentional attitude, and that's not something we can control. Okay, on the highest level, it is a development that happens. But of course, we can cultivate desires. We can actually be aware of our desires. We can be aware of being aware of our emotions and mood can help us to improve it. So, yeah, on the highest philosophical level, Krishna doesn't care about how you're doing it, what you're doing it. So he has got all the time in the universe. He's not in a rush. So Krishna doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about most of the details that we worry about. They say, now there was this guy who spent all his life worrying and most of his worries never happened. So those are all, most of our worries and guilt and shame and all that is useless endeavor. So unless and until it brings samsiddhir haritoshanam, it's pleasing to Krishna, which means what is pleasing to Krishna? When we are thinking of him, it pleases him. So even if we are thinking of him saying, oh Krishna, I should be doing more service to you, I feel like my mind is so worried about this and that. I should be more engaged to you. Krishna is pleased, obviously. So it doesn't matter if we're thinking of him because of our negativity, or we are approaching him and saying, Krishna, I'm in so much trouble, please help me. He enjoys that connection we have. So if we are feeling guilty, there is a way that we can feel guilty in Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. In Tamagun, that guilt is being no use to me, not to Krishna, not to anybody around me. And in the mood of passion, the guilt may be like we're trying to please, I don't know who around, or we're trying to do things without actually looking at our emotions, if it's developing or not. In Sattva Guna, we are aware, okay, I'm actually doing these things, but actually I'm not having the perfect emotion. But the perfect emotion cannot be forced. So I'm continuing doing what I can do. And when Krishna wants, he will give me the perfect emotion. So in Sattva Guna, we are guilty, but not in a way that it obstructs our growth. And we are handing it over to Krishna. We are not taking that guilt and we're not going around walking with that guilt. We are handing it over to Krishna. So in Sattva Guna, we process it, we are aware of it, we're not suppressing, we're not denying, we're not pushing it under the carpet. I'm acknowledging it. Krishna, I'm feeling very guilty that I'm not doing the service that my Guru Maharaj has given me. I mean, it's a very subconscious thing. It's a deep subconscious thing. We can't just take it out and throw it out, but it's deep. And with that deep emotion of feeling inadequate, Krishna, I'm feeling unqualified. I'm feeling like Guru Maharaj trusted me so much with these things. He said things, like I'm just saying for me, okay. My Guru Maharaj has like thousands and thousands and thousands of disciples, like 60,000 or more disciples. And he wouldn't know, he knows me by name. He thinks of me. He told me some instructions. And still I'm sitting here, covered with my own anarthas, covered with my own selfish desires, and I'm not doing it. So obviously that repentance can be helpful in Krishna consciousness if it is in the mode of sattva. In the mode of sattva, that regret should bring me to a point of praying to Krishna helplessly and saying, Krishna, please help me. Please help me to accomplish my Guru Maharaj's words. Please give me the strength to do my Guru Maharaj's desire. By the way, talking about it, I'm right now working on something my Guru Maharaj asked me. It's like re-establishing one of the lost holy places here, like that. Yesterday I was like talking with the panchayat, drawing up things to get permission to put that thing there and everything. And I was like, I want to give my life to this, I want to do everything. At the same time, there's helplessness, right? There is government involved, there's panchayat involved. It's not that I can just go and do whatever I want. So there are helpless situations where I may not be in charge, in control of handling things. So we pray to the feet of Vaishnavas. I'm praying to you all. Please give me your blessings so I can fulfill this request my Guru Maharaj has said. He said, I'll be so grateful if you can get this done. So I'm like, my mood, my attitude, everything is focused on that. I want to get that done. I don't care about anything. But yeah, I do get into the mode of Rajas a little bit. Like, I want to get this done. And then there's so many choices to be made. And I'm like, I don't know what Krishna wants. Does Krishna want the thing to be put here? It's actually about Balaram. So it's Balaram pastimes. Does Balaram want it here or should it be here? More people will be able to see it here. So there is a lot of passion. But ultimately, guilt and shame, if it obstructs our service, yes, it's not pleasing to Krishna. But if guilt and shame can actually bring me to correct myself, correct my attitude, correct my thinking, then it's useful. But if it's only making me feel down and it's only making me agitated, then yes, it's not pleasing to Krishna. Is that helpful?
Yeah, it's very helpful. Thank you.
So thank you very much, everybody. See you tomorrow, and have a day of looking at Krishna from every angle. Like, let's wear the lens of seeing Krishna in every situation. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.